If my mind is a certain way, the symbols show up in my real physical life every day. And I mean, and that we are all connected.
Welcome to Supernaut, where we explore the inner and outer dimensions of the self. Today, Amy Jensen is joining us. Amy is an astrologer, a yoga therapist, a Yoga Nidra teacher, a sound and visual artist, and just an all-around deeply creative human who somehow weaves all of those worlds together in a way that feels grounding and spiritual at the same time. I've been curious about how she got into all of this, where it started, what pulled her into healing work, and what she's learned along the way. So we're going to ask all of that today. But first, I had you pick a song for us to listen to before we started. What song did you pick?
So Lonely by The Police off their first release.
Why did you pick it?
I think was the first song that came to my mind, and they were like my first favorite band. And I always loved the guitar solo, and I just love like the way all the parts wind and weave, and like of course Stuart Copeland's drumming just drives the whole thing. Well, anyway, it's just that whole first album by The Police is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I'm listening to it though, I'm like, I mean, obviously the repetition of So Lonely, it's like just kind of interesting, I guess, just thinking about coming here and talking about spirituality and being a person and human in the world. And just listening to the lyrics was kind of interesting as far as that goes, I guess.
I mean, everybody's experienced loneliness.
Yeah, and it's a lonely journey being a human. I mean, we have each other all the time, but then we also ultimately are alone. And so I do go back and forth with that a lot.
Yeah, we feel so separate from the rest of the world sometimes.
Exactly. When all we are really is connected. But
yeah, have you experienced a lot of non-duality moments in your life where you feel really connected to everything?
yes, and a lot of it comes through music and art. And of course, music and meditation are so much the same and overlap. But I think at an early age, music was very much, and being in nature, probably the two ways that I felt super connected. So.
Yeah, those are still the ways that I feel most connected. Definitely. So I met you back in 2015. I had to look up the email exchange that we had. So I got a reading done by you. And I actually brought it up in my first episode. I talked about how you told me that in a past life, I died from a drug overdose at a music festival, and that I would be spending this lifetime trying to get over my addictions, which here we are. And so, I mean, some people could say that idea put me on this path, but I don't think that's true at all. I have always craved experiencing life raw and unfiltered. Even when I was younger, I mean, I love sunglasses, but even when I was pretty young, I didn't want to wear sunglasses because I wanted to see life how it was intended to be seen, especially when I was on trips with my parents or vacations. Like, the sun would be out and it'd be so bright, so I'd want to put the sunglasses on, but I'm like, but that's not real. That's not what the world really looks like. So that's the same with addictions. Like any addiction, even, gambling, like when that's on your mind all the time, you're not seeing the rest of the world clearly, let alone substances. So here we are. I'm on that journey. I've let go of a lot of things that have been holding me back. And since then, I run into you here and there, go to your singing bowls and mantra classes in Bram, and you recently got into doing Reiki, and I was lucky enough to get to be one of the volunteers. I got some sessions done. So let's just start from the beginning. How did you get into all this woo-woo stuff? Like, what was the earliest memory that made you feel pulled into this stuff?
Well, and I kind of want to go back and say, I hope I didn't when I heard you say that on your first podcast, I do have these moments where oh my God, what did I say? So I really tried to be more careful in my wording because I'm like, I hope you took that the right way.
Well, I might have interpreted it way different than what you even said.
No, because I got back when I heard that, I'm like, well, I'm sure, I'm sure that, some of the symbolism that was probably present, I can imagine that. And then I'm like, But I think I do really, I mean, I hope that that landed. And I think that carries me through with a lot of my work. Like, oh my God, I have to really make sure that I don't say the wrong thing or that the person hears me and doesn't carry that in an unhealthy way or like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like you just said, like, did that position you to do this or whatever? Like, one has to be very
I don't think it will
tactful.
click with somebody unless it's something that would resonate with them anyways, though. Like, because you
Right.
hear so much that isn't going, I've
Yeah.
had different readings before too, and I haven't remembered every single thing
Yeah.
because there's a reason when it sticks.
Well, and
So,
I think that's now when I phrase what I do, and
mhm.
then I will answer your question then too. But I really am careful, like saying, like usually I just say what I see or the symbols that come forward,
Mhm.
and it is each person. It's like something in each person will resonate, and that
Mhm.
will be kind of like a ding 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 or like a
Yeah.
pinball thing that like
Yeah.
activates, and that's what
Yeah.
will like
Whatever you
everybody knows what's
said,
true
yeah.
for them.
Whatever you had said, I was like, that makes so much sense,
Okay.
and it had always made sense, and it
Okay.
felt really real. And I
Okay.
don't think, I mean, I continued to drink and party for another 10 years, 2015. Well, yeah, I felt like we met earlier than 2015, but that's when the emails were. So,
Hmm.
anyways, yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Well, oh, cool. Well, I just wanted to clarify that because I
yeah,
think that's one thing I'm always really trying to be careful about, even as I talk with
yeah.
people about.
Because the last reading I
Yeah.
got, he told me I was a Nazi in a past life. So, yeah.
Oh,
You
wow.
can't take everything super literally.
Was to see that's super specific. I don't know if that's something a person could really say.
Yeah.
Well, and then I'm also wondering about like just in general with psychics or readings, and like sometimes they just pick up energy fields
Mm,
too. Like
mhm,
it might be something a person's thinking about or had seen a movie about. So you
mm,
don't know if that's just in your energy field or if that's an actual
yeah.
thing. But
Yeah.
not to,
Right.
yeah, anyway, not to digress. But,
Yeah.
well, so how did I get started in this? Um, well, I was thinking about kind of that before I came here and thinking back to when I was a little kid and, so music and nature and art as well. But they were really big parts of my being. And, but I did have, um, a couple spiritual things that happened to me when I was little. And I was always kind of drawn into spirituality or even religion. But I remember, like my mom, I remember saying I wanted to be a nun at some point, and she was like, "Oh, that would be so boring. Like, you don't want to do that." Then we couldn't go shopping. And I'm like, but in my mind, if I could have like envisioned like a Spanish like monastery, like where
Yeah.
they wore sandals, I could imagine my room, like this room, with a little single bed and a study table and a kneeler and like sandals. But like in my mind, I envision like brown orthopedic shoes. And I'm like, yeah, I can't be a nun. I can't wear brown orthopedic shoes. Isn't that weird? Okay, see, these are the parts you're probably gonna have to edit. But like, I've always was drawn to that, but like, but not like
Mhm.
I knew I would love to be absorbed into that or sitting in church always like I don't think they have this right. I don't think they've got this right.
Mm,
Even as a little kid, I'm like I don't think they're doing this right.
mm,
So that was part of what like early experiences and then I really was a music major
mhm,
and much very performance oriented. So like people from my hometown, like picking the police, they'd be like, "Oh, that's Amy."
mhm,
And I just everything I did was surrounded, probably and surrendered to. I played euphonium. It's a tenor tuba.
mm,
I don't know if you watch Southern Charm, but
mm-mm.
Molly on Southern Charm plays a euphonium. So now I can kind of drag that in for pop reference because most people don't know what a euphonium is. But I mean, I picked up it was a baritone horn when I was younger, and the minute I picked it up, I could play it, and I that was everything I did, and I loved it. I played it all the time, and I realized it was the breath. Like
Mm,
piano was a little too far and scared me a little
mhm,
bit, and even though I played piano contests, etc. But just really got involved with playing my instrument. But then when I went to college, like that shifted, and like, I've had these shifts throughout my life. Like I don't like if I get too identified with something, I think my ego became too identified with it because that's what I would have identified as. Like, oh, I play baritone horn and I do performance and like that's what I do. And then it would come along, life would come along and kind of like, nope, you don't. Like just switch gears.
Most people's egos want to stay in the same exact pattern and keep looping, and because that's safe for the ego. But your ego's like,
My
let's
ego
do
is
new
like,
things.
yeah, it kind of throws it out. And I'm sure it drove my mom and dad crazy because it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But even, and then I went into art school. So that was like, I'm like, okay, I really like to do art. I'll follow that path. And then in that path, I went to MCAD, Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and like super open to influences and, different artists, but different even spirituality, because like super great staff and professors and access to Sunsight Books was a big, I didn't live that far from Sunsight Books, so I'd get like books on the Kabbalah or Kabbalah. I still don't know how to pronounce it, so that's on the record. But just astrology even then. And wow, I hope I'm coming around to my point here. But I always like, that was something that's always kind of wound through, and symbolism. So symbolism in my artwork and colors and like numbers, and I'd always listen to music when I would do art, and did a lot of figure work with charcoal. That was probably my most comfortable media, and I still work in that. But probably the most comfortable, I would take art figures and then I would like distill them down to just arcs and lines and shapes, and that would always be done to music, and specifically one piece each time. Um, and so, and learned about synesthesia, where people would hear sounds and it would relate to a color or numbers to colors. And then when I started learning about astrology, um, through yoga. So, gosh, this is really a convoluted path. So, I went to art school, graduated, met my husband. I worked in like graphic arts for a few years, and then we got married, had kids. I got to be a stay-at-home mom, which was awesome. So, I got to do all of that, and started studying yoga. I had always loved, I did dance a lot when I was little, ballet, and loved movement. Started doing yoga after reading Carlos Castaneda's books, those Don Juan books. I don't know the way
The Four Agreements? Does
yeah,
he do?
no, Don Juan. I should remember the teachings of Don Juan, Carlos Castaneda, about shamanism. So I will bring this home. And I read some of those series. Sorry, I read that series. And then it became all about power, like power this, power that. And I'm like, well, I don't know. That doesn't seem like power. Like, why are you searching for power? And I think that kind of led me into power yoga. And then I was like, well, that wasn't quite right. And started reading everything I could about yoga. And led me to Yogananda's book, Autobiography of a Yogi, Ram Dass, just every single thing I could read about yoga. And then, I'm doing yoga, I'm reading about it, started, a friend of mine worked at Bram Community Ed at the time. And she was like, hey, we need a yoga teacher. And I'm like, hey, I haven't been doing yoga for like more, like it was probably a year or so. And so I'll do it, but I'll get training because I don't want to do anything not being properly trained. And so then I looked into like Yoga Journal. They have all the ads, and there was the Temple of Kriya Yoga, which had a home study program. And I ran it by Sherry, our mutual friend, and she's like, wow, this looks great. And I'm like, well, cool, I think I'll do it. And then she also went through the same school about 6 months later, and that set me off on the yogic path. And through that, I started studying astrology because I went into their philosophy, the Kriology program after I did the teacher training. And one of my spiritual teachers there was an astrologer, as well as Kriyananda was. And so I went through all of their astrology courses and just really got into that. Studied with Stephen Forrest, went to see him out in California several times, which was really awesome. And Adam Gainsbourg, went to Sky Astrology Conference once, but I've done a lot of online studies with him. So I just love to learn. I do. I just kind of like keep going with that. And then mantra, so music kind of came back into the picture. There was always mantra in the yogic studies and in the traditions. In the traditions I studied, and I'm sure all traditions, but specifically with the Kriya Yoga. And so, and actually the first retreat I went to, the Swami program was also having their retreat at the same time, and we were able to go to their morning meditation and mantra, and I'm like, oh, like I'm in, this is great. And so that was something that always was interesting to me. And then I took an Ayurveda wellness course, and one of the weekends was a weekend of mantra with Nikolai Bachman. And that was like, turned something on in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is really cool. And so that I kind of left. I looked him up to see if I could study with him, and he really didn't have anything. And then this Heart of Sound study program, which was also remote. I did go to India right as COVID started to study in person, but went to India, was there for like a day, came back right as COVID started.
Oh, wow.
I got there and I came home, I even spent the money to get a better ticket, et cetera, et cetera. Got home and my dad's like, so now do you believe that there's a pandemic? And I'm like, too soon, Dad. But everything was fine. Obviously, that's a whole other thing, and glad we're through all of that collectively. So I started with that program and could do that at home because they switched to online, have met a lot of great people internationally because of that. But I think through the mantra studies, and they were kind of based more on the Tantric tradition of being in the world, like the world is a playground, and each experience isn't bad or good, it's just an experience. And there was this more of an emphasis on just resonance and how you feel when you do music instead of that performative aspect. And so I feel like that was really healing to reclaim my love of music without getting into the perfectionism that I had when I was a performer. So that's how I got into it. And just along the way, loving energy work and stones and, just all the symbolism that really I got into when I studied astrology. I just couldn't get enough. And sadly, like I was so into it for a while, I would just remember everything. And now I'm a little more like, I'll have to look it up. But yeah.
That's great. I have so many
It's a lot.
questions. Okay, so were your parents artistic? Or anybody in your family?
Yes, my mom was very musical and artistic. And then I was thinking we have quite a few musicians and artists in our family. Like my grandpa and all his brothers were in a band. We've got all these old pictures of them being in a band back in like World War I or something era. And quite a few visual artists in the family as well.
And so do you think things just kind of came to you and that would spark your interest more, and then you would just kind of go that way instead of like, I think sometimes I like look too hard for something I'm interested in, and then when I just kind of sit back, it kind of comes to me?
Yeah, everything kind of like fell into place. It would be, and when it didn't, that was kind of a sign for me that I was pushing too hard because that could happen too. But it was amazingly simple to find the online yoga thing. Somebody, like I said, the friend asked me to teach yoga. The teaching program appeared. the next step with astrology, somebody I was interested in would have
Mm-hmm.
a retreat or a training. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And all of these things that you're into now, is there one common thread through all of them?
Well, I think it's the breath. I
Okay.
think it's the breath. And so doing mantra, my voice for speaking, I'm very comfortable with teaching, and that always feels like it kind of just flows through because I feel like I'm more of a vessel when I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that feeling, which is the way it felt when I'd play my horn. It would
Mm-hmm.
just like flow through me. Um, and then, but singing, I had to really like get rid of that mind again because that's so vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's voice is so vulnerable. But then when I reframed it as, well, it's just breath again
Mm-hmm.
and just guiding people. I love that feeling of guiding, or the terms like sharing or inviting, to let people have their own experience. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
have to like make it, I can just set the boundaries or the framework for
Mm-hmm.
them to have the experience. So I don't have to make anybody believe in anything or like yeah, it just gives everyone their autonomy and have
Mm-hmm.
their own cool experience from it. So that would be the thread of the breath and creating the framework and like the invitational aspect.
Yeah, that's huge for me right now because I just got a drum. My goal is a hand pan,
Oh, cool.
but those are more expensive and I think going to be harder to learn. So this one looks like, I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
it's got some tools to go with it. And I'm excited to learn that instrument. But now that you say that, maybe I do want some kind of flute or something that I can use my breath with,
Hmm.
because we take our breath so much for granted. I mean, it
Yeah.
is why we're alive, and we never breathe deep down to our toes. And I think we all have problems with our nervous system right now because we're not breathing the air into our whole
Yes.
body. So maybe that will be my next instrument because
Right.
it hadn't really been on my radar, but I like that. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And also, I'm thinking too, you could hum while you play your
That's
new
true.
instrument.
That's true. It's crazy how humming can make you feel so good, your whole body
Yeah.
vibrating. And yeah, your mantra class in Brahm, especially the first one, it's like you just kind of lose yourself in a
Hmm.
way. It feels so spiritual and so beautiful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something really magical about that. And it's like you
Mhm.
said, even just humming. And,
Mhm.
obviously the sounds of Sanskrit, like Hebrew and Latin, it's a sacred language. So each sound has a resonance. And it's really
Mm.
cool if you look up videos about doing Sanskrit and it
Mhm.
lighting up
Mhm.
your brain. But even just humming everything, like it's the cheapest medicine. Like
Mm.
I go out and I'll practice and just have to be by myself so I don't have to worry about anybody hearing me.
Mhm.
I feel better, 100% better every single time. So
Mhm. I love
everybody
that.
could save a lot of money. Just go out and hum.
Mhm. Yeah, that puts you back in your body.
Yeah.
That's so great. So for people that aren't kind of into this, what are some signs that someone might benefit from astrology or sound healing?
Um, well, I think astrology is wonderful just because everybody can learn more about themselves. And now I think it was the astrologer Grant Louis, could be wrong, it who said it's not something to believe in, it's just something to know about. So I
Mm,
think if someone just thinks like, hey, this is a way I can gain insight, because if you just know more about yourself, we can accept more because we all have
mhm,
those things that go really well and the things that don't. And like you said, repetitively, we all have those karmas,
mhm,
and it just helps us with that guidance. But sound healing is great because you don't have to, you just go
mhm,
and experience. So the thinking mind can be set aside. So I guess if a person loves that, and the astrology is more analytic, it's
mhm,
definitely a little more lean that way. You have to want to go
mhm,
that route. Whereas a sound bath, you can just lay back and
mhm.
breathe and experience.
My favorite work ever, like, is you just lay and relax and your body's being healed.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about how simple that is in like Shavasana in a yoga practice, and I remember my teacher, Kim Schwartz, was amazing. You know, that's the most important pose
Wow.
of any practice.
Wow.
And
So
that's
just laying on your back,
completely
but
releasing.
being intentional about it.
Exactly. It is. It's the releasing and receiving, the hands up. And I'm saying that and reminding myself of that as well, which I think is a lot of my teaching is I'm just reminding myself.
That's great. On your website, it says, as above, so below, as within, so without. How do you interpret that in your daily life and with your clients?
Well, I mean, I do see the correlation all the time, and I'm sure you do too. Like, if my mind is a certain way, the symbols show up in my real physical life every day. And as within, so without, as above, as below. I mean, and that we are all connected. That going back to that theme of inner connectivity, inner and inter, really, because we do see how our resonance affects other people. It's like so many times, it's like, oh, that person, et cetera, and it's like, that's not that person. I'm holding that vibration, and I just happen to draw that person to mirror it back to me.
Yes.
And so, again, it's like this non-judgmental thing, though. It's like a very acceptance-based. It just is what it is. Like it literally, to me, it's that flow. So that's why sometimes if I have a problem, I'll try to work it out, with mantra, that vibration, or I will try to take the steps. Like I can see this symbol appearing, like Amy, slow the F down, or whatever it might be.
So true. Like every time I saw this coworker for like months, I had this feeling of them judging me, and it took me so long, but I finally figured out it was what it was that I was judging myself. But I kept getting stuck because I kept thinking they were judging me about something else, or I was judging myself about something else. But once I realized what it was that I was judging myself about, I'm like, oh, that's where this is showing up. And now, like, everything's fine. It was never, ever anything about him. He was just a good mirror. And I started being thankful for him being a mirror before I figured out what it was. And then it was so quick before I realized, oh, okay, that is completely different than what I thought. But
Right.
being open to it, I think, is the biggest part.
Oh, definitely. And I think when you said that about being thankful for him, I think gratitude is such a huge practice and so simple, so accessible. And again, you don't have to believe in anything, but just being thankful for these people and what they bring up in us, which is kind of what I think we're all here to do. To be honest with you, if you're going to put it in a nutshell, like let's learn from whomever in the world who is really annoying us or who we love amazingly. Like, oh my God, they're amazing. What is it? That's the only reason we're here. And okay, that's really simplistic, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we're just here to learn from each other. And until we get to that non-reactive point at a critical mass, like we're just here for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell my sister that I'm like, I know that person might annoy all of us, but we have to like transcend that because we're feeding it.
There's another quote on your page from Ram Dass. It says, we're all just walking each other home.
Yeah.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that there's misunderstandings or stigmas about alternative healing and astrology that you constantly need to address? And how do you handle that skepticism?
Oh, astrology for sure. I run into a few roadblocks. Actually, I think it was the summer of 2023. I was at a restaurant outside of Mora, and the people I was with asked me about astrology, and they were like, "Hey, we don't know anything about astrology. Just give us something simple. And I just gave some really blanket, like, oh, Aries, da 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 da, or this, very simple. And the waitress comes up later and tells me that that's like God doesn't approve of astrology. And I mean, like, this was like 2 years ago. It was so random, but I just, I didn't react because that has happened a bit with astrology. But, I've been teaching yoga so long. That happened in Cambridge with yoga when I first started,
Yeah.
you know. So, but I just said, well, hey, there are Christian astrologers. There always have been. And I mean, and by the way, the Vatican holds like most of the astrological texts in its library. So
Wow.
it's just as weird. So there's that.
Yeah.
There's like, I mean, obviously there's a connection with astrology and magic and people using times for magical things, but that's not necessarily bad, I mean, what people do with that, I think it's for timing, et cetera. I don't do that, but it doesn't mean it's bad. But there's that stigma. There's also the stigma that I run into, or not a stigma, but a belief that I'm telling somebody because of these blanket statements, like, oh, Aries, oh, they're angry all the time and they like to use knives, or Taurus just sit on the couch and eat ice cream,
Well, that's kind of true for me.
Well, I was going to say I've got a Taurus chunk in my chart. I mean, as we all do, but like the energies of, again, it's like the stars incline, they don't decide, that old saying. It's like, so sometimes it's great that so many people are into astrology now and it's so widespread. But because of that, it can become a little simplified. And just because I'm an Aquarius doesn't mean I'm going to be kooky all the time or that I don't care what people think, because I've also got, a big chunk of Virgo and I've got all these other things and everything is interacting with each other. So, so the oversimplification on a lot of different levels is hard for astrology. And I think it's interesting, and I love that I live in or outside of Cambridge, because it took me literally years to realize that 1/4 of a block or 1/4 of all of Main Street in Cambridge is a huge Baptist church. Like, I just didn't understand that at first until I did. And then I'm like, well, thank you for like realizing that that's where the fear was coming from some people. But then conversely, like a lot of my kids' friends were Baptists, and I used to work for a person who owned a yoga or fitness studio, and she was Baptist, and she was lovely, and she was totally fine with me teaching yoga, et cetera, et cetera. So I just had to learn to like not be too. I had to be more careful with how I coached things or use different terms. And I think that really helped me be a more effective teacher, because when you'd come to yoga class, at first I didn't know I would om at the end. And I didn't realize the next class I taught, this was early on, like half the people showed up. And I'm like, ooh, didn't realize that offended people. And I'm like, we don't have to do an om. Like that has nothing to do with hatha yoga, So just making it more open to more people. So that's what I've had to, in my time teaching yoga or being in the like East Central Minnesota community. Which is weird because like growing up in South Dakota, I didn't have that. But I think South Dakota now is way more conservative than it was. It would be very different. It was much more open, the community I grew up in. And I shouldn't say open. I mean, grew up Catholic, but like we weren't, anyway, just no one ever, I didn't have those problems, I guess, of like somebody thinking I'm doing something. Yeah, a witch. Exactly. But
well, thank you for being brave enough to open more minds around in this area, because I feel like you've made a huge difference in the last few decades with that. So
well, thank you. But I think it's funny because I know I ran into a chiropractor in Cambridge, and we were joking about Cambridge being more open, and then we're like, oh, I guess it's been like 25 years. So
but time does go fast. But there had to be some people leading the way for that. So
well, thank you. That it makes me feel it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like, and not in, again, in an egoic way. It's like, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of part of what my path is,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting because I don't really teach hatha yoga much anymore. So it's like other people are doing that. So it's kind of like my horn playing. I still practice it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't teach it much. And now I do the sound baths, I do the mantra, I do the Yoga
Mm-hmm.
Nidra, and I'm kind of thinking eventually somebody else will do those, probably.
Mm-hmm.
So where am I going with that?
Maybe you're always going to be doing like the cutting edge thing because you are so open to the new things. And
Yeah,
obviously, you always have been. So the new things will come in as we evolve as humans, as this area and community evolves.
yeah, because there's part of me that's a little foolish and a little brave and a little like, ooh, that's exciting. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious. And then I'll do it. And like I said, then I realize, like, oh shit, I didn't know that was going to offend a bunch of people
Yeah.
or have them think, like, when my kids were little, like my son didn't experience this, but my oldest daughter did. Like when I first started teaching yoga, I mean, people did say things to her like, well, does your mom even believe in God?
Yeah.
And it's like so weird because like everything I did was kind of about God.
Yeah.
But
Right. You're feeling him, not just sitting in church
yeah.
learning.
Yeah. So that was a little weird. So I'm like, oh my God, later they told me that the kids did. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that,
Yeah.
my interests affected you like
Right.
that. But
Right.
yeah, but thankfully by the time my son went through, his friends were totally different and
Yeah.
was totally, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So yeah, everybody's nervous system's being jacked up right now. Like, why do you think that is? And what can we do?
well, honestly, this is probably going to put me in the nutball community, but I don't think it's an accident that our nervous systems are getting jacked up, and I don't think it's an accident that everything is super divisive. But karmically, it's a really big gift. I think it's just the age we're in. We're in this Kali Yuga, which is a long, period of we're the farthest away from the golden era, where
Mm.
everybody, it was all sunshine and unicorns, etc. But so it's an opportunity. So I shouldn't say that. It is an opportunity. It's not like it's a big plan. I shouldn't say that. It's just the age we live in and the karma we're presented, which is one of divisiveness, which is like 180 degrees away from really being united. So there's this divisiveness. And it's really sad because I do think a lot of people's minds are a lot of people are resonating with hatred and anger and prejudice. And it's sad that that's being like encouraged. Um, but conversely, anytime we get to act in a way that helps unify people or like see past, like when you said acceptance, like seeing past that, like that's a huge opportunity for everyone to grow. So every time I have like a really, oh, I'm sorry, amazing experience with people, somebody who goes out of their way to do something super kind. It happened in a Walmart in Aberdeen, South Dakota, when something happened to my vehicle. It was like 20 below, 8 a.m. on Sunday morning last year. And this young man working the service counter just went above and beyond. And
Mm.
like, his name was Robinson. And so my sister and my niece and I were like, we're going to be Robinsons. Like, he just went
Mm.
out and he just did all this. I went above and beyond. So where am I going with this? So what can we do? Really look beyond the differences, try to find commonality, um, not be pulled into the duality, and to like go back and find that connection.
Mm.
And I'll go back to the breath. I'll bring back full circle, grounding into the body, relaxing the tongue, the throat, the jaw, breathing and, humming, moving, some type
Mhm.
of grounding and flowing. thing will help us regulate the nervous system. So again, I guess I'm going hard for like mantra and sound, but it's an easy way to do it, and everybody can do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing, journaling, I've been calling it flow journaling lately, where you can just write down how you feel. I'm feeling metallic, black, this, that, every feeling, and sit with those. Let yourself breathe or hum for a while. And then you can feel them release, just like, again, like the clouds in the sky. And find, maybe what the opposite of that is. What you're really looking for is the communion, which is the peace and the calm, which might have a color or a memory.
Oh, that was another thing I was going to ask. So, can you see colors with sounds?
I don't. I take that back. When I do Reiki, colors will come to me, or images, quite often. So, but I don't see them around, like I don't see auras. It's more of just a feeling. I'm more of a feeler. Yeah.
And perfect. I wanted to get into Reiki next. Can you explain to people who don't know what Reiki is, what it is? And I'll just say, yeah, when I've came to you to get Reiki, I won't even tell you like, hey, but I'll think to myself like, I want to hear a color, I want a word or something like that. And yeah, you always do deliver like something. And if a lot of times I'm like telling my guides, I don't need anything today. But the days that I say like, please tell me something, it's like, yeah, you give me something to work with afterwards. And then my question with Reiki is, do you get burnt out taking on everybody's energies?
Okay. So Reiki is just a form of energy work. You use these symbols. It started like from Japan. And basically you just, call in your guides, the person's guides, and you can either put your hands above them or on them or do it distance. And basically it's just uniting the person's intention. And I love it because you just let the energy flow. It's not like I have to do anything. Um, because that always, I just love the flow. So it always does come back to that flow and breath. So it's a session where the person's fully clothed and on a table, and you just go around checking the chakras and the energy field, and then just kind of move to where I'm called on the body. There are specific, areas that you move to, but I kind of have already decided to just do it however it comes. But then, it just is amazing what kind of comes through. Let's see. I don't know. And then taking on, and that's, I don't know, is that enough? Did I say enough?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And taking on people's energies, you have to watch that. So I always try to ground afterwards, try to ground before and after, and then usually take a salt bath that night too, like a 20-minute salt bath. And just kind of setting those boundaries that it's a certain time, you close it off afterwards, and then they're closed off too, so that they're, when you leave, like your energy field is yours and mine is mine. Because I think you have to be really respectful of that. I think that's kind of one of my pet peeves with all types of spiritual work that people do, is like, don't be in somebody's energy field. Don't be like, oh, I can feel this from you. Like if I go over to, you know, s- someone else in the room, like,
Like I
oh,
feel
da 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 da.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no, I didn't ask you to.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. So I
Yeah.
really try to do that with my kids or people in my life too. It's like, if you want me to,
Yeah.
I will look up your chart. I will do energy work for you, but I'm not gonna do it,
Yeah. Like you have
anyway.
good etiquette with it.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that mantra that you gave me a while ago with the elephant? and it was to get out of my own way. And I listen to it all the time, and it really works.
So it's probably a Ganesha
Hmm.
mantra. Was it the Ganapataye
Yeah.
Namaha?
Hmm.
Om
Hmm.
Gam
Yeah. So I just
Ganapataye.
looked it up on YouTube,
Hmm.
and there's a certain one that I really like when I know I'm the one causing my own problems.
Yeah, Ganesha's the big elephant god, and either with his big trunk or his tail, and the rhythm too. It's got a
Yeah.
nice rhythm to it, like
Yeah.
clearing stuff out. Like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
a good go-to.
Do you have a favorite right now mantra?
Yeah, I've been really, well, anything Krishna, like for a
Mm-hmm.
while, but just well, yeah. So a couple of Krishna mantras, and I know it's kind of funny. So the Hare Krishna, but they've got some beautiful melodies. So Krishna is very much the Christ energy. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just love,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the simplicity of that. It's been really nourishing for my soul and my heart,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes when I get in my own way, and really with the whole world situation or things that have been going on in, my life or family, it's like, oh my God, maybe I can't do anything, but I can just love.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that's like my fallback. I'm like,
Yeah. Somebody that I had invited to mantra was like, "Well, I don't know. I don't want to like call in evil spirits and because I don't know what the words mean, but
mhm.
like the words are all so beautiful, so healing. There can't be any evil in these words."
Exactly. And especially since, okay, so I love the Heart of Sound teachings. It was really more about, like, you'd know the meaning and you could look up each letter, which is really cool. So
Mm,
that's in the Tantric sound tradition. Is like the A has a bliss meaning, and the long A,
mm-hmm,
it's each has a vibration. But don't let me tell you about it. Like, you
mm,
do it, and
mm-hmm,
like you'll have your own experience, which again I love, because
mm-hmm,
I don't want to be telling somebody that. Like, I can tell you, hey, Ganesha's awesome and it'll help you clear the path, but you're going to have your own experience with it, and you're going to
mm-hmm,
start vibing with it. And your experience is like, yeah, it did clear my path, but it does it in this way. And like,
mm,
that's how you make it yours. And so, but, see, this is me, but I can see where your friend might be like, because it's a foreign language
mm-hmm,
and it can sound weird. And I mean, I can see where that misconception can come into
mm-hmm,
play.
mm-hmm.
So, but
Yeah. Well, from my experience, it is nothing but love and light.
well, and that's what I think you would go to the person who resonates that, and
Mm-hmm,
that's the intention. And I think the people who would be using anything, which can really be anything, for
mm-hmm,
not good, as we see with
mm-hmm,
social media and chaos magic and
mm-hmm,
all of that. I mean, let's face it, television is programming, it's there's thought behind ads, and there's
mm-hmm,
energy behind ads and words and symbols that are chosen in everything we watch, and that is in our aura.
mm-hmm.
And it's not unlike a dream watching a movie. I mean, it's not unlike the astral plane. So I mean, so there is that, but I think a person, you would go to someone who you would trust. Like, I'm not just going to go through the
Mm-hmm.
internet, like, oh, hey, I'll pick this person to
Mm-hmm.
study mantra with, um,
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, I think you can get a pretty good read on that.
Right.
So,
Can you explain Yoga Nidra?
yeah, that's another thing. You can just lay there. So
Oh,
it's
my
super awesome.
favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that, interestingly, it has been super studied. That's great grammar, isn't it? It's been super studied.
Yeah.
So I spent time in California. Um,
Yeah.
but well, actually, that's kind of, now that I say that, it's going to sound really weird, because it's Richard Miller iRest, Yoga Nidra. They did a lot of studies for that in the military. And actually, my friend, I won't mention her name, but she just told me recently, because I had sent a Yoga Nidra to her, and her dad said when he was in the army, that was some of the stuff they practiced to help them relax
Mm.
and be mindful.
Oh, I think I heard Napoleon did Yoga Nidra.
I think you're right.
Wow.
Yeah. So use it for good, people. No, but
Right.
basically, it is really great because it does help
Yeah.
focus the mind, but it does so by, so you get into Shavasana or a seated position. And really, with my meditations too, over the last few years, I've switched from always having to have your eyes shut. Some people are more comfortable with their eyes open
Mm.
and like just looking, and that gives their mind something to do also. But traditionally, you close your eyes and then you're guided into like a rotation of consciousness. So I'll, say, your right eye, your left eye,
Mm.
left ear, right ear, etc., all through the body. And you just envision your awareness going there. Maybe you envision a circle of light at each point or a colored or
Mm-hmm.
something. But that just gets you aware of your whole body. And then we'll do a little breathing, a little of feeling opposites. Like, can you bring into your mind a feeling of being cold or hot,
Mm.
really contracted, really relaxed? And so it just gets the mind and the body on the same page. And then the recordings I have, then I had done a little guided journey for each of them. And I did kind of base them on each of the astrological signs for each of the chakras. But that you don't have to. You could just go through the body, feelings and thoughts. And it's really about watching thoughts and feelings arise,
Mm-hmm.
come into view, and then go away again. And after you're done with Yoga Nidra, it is equal to like 4 hours of sleep. So it's a wonderful practice to do. And then usually like an idea comes to you afterwards too, if you have a little something you've been thinking about. Well, you know how that is, but it's
Yes.
just a way to get yourself into it. So it's just another way of guided meditation.
Wow,
So.
I was sold, and then you sent the sleep thing like every single day. Veda, put this in my schedule, make it happen. My gosh. Okay, and yeah, so your website, yeah, I saw a lot of different classes, stuff that you have going on, workshop, like the allness workshop. That's next August,
Yeah, well,
or was
so
it last August?
it was, and I will be doing those again.
Okay.
I would also like to figure out how to do them online. I haven't done that yet. But I stopped doing those when we had this health crisis in my family. So I will be back to doing that again. And that was kind of fun because I, had been using writing as therapeutic, like the flow journaling. And then I started using that to write some poetry. But really the heart of it is the flow journaling, just letting, like putting words out there. And then the act of creating art, and not for a finished product, but the act of image making. So I'll get on my soapbox about image making and sound making and how we as humans have given that up to the select few who are professional painters or professional musicians. It's like, no, every person is an image maker and every person is a music maker. And those are things I want us all to reconnect to before we got to be like maybe fourth, fifth grade when, oh, well, so and so can draw, but I can't. Or so and so can sing and I can't. It's like, no, like that's.
It can still be a hobby. Me and Veda talked about that yesterday. Like the deep realization that I can still write
Oh, yeah.
for myself as a hobby. People make things all the time as a hobby that they're not trying to make money off of or
Exactly.
show anybody. Like why would I think the writing has to be anything else? That's so true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all writing starts that way anyway. Who's to say 20 years from now you don't publish something if you wanted to after writing for all those years? But
Right.
it's like
Right.
everything just starts. So I kind of combined. So part of the class would be writing, part would be art making, part would be mantra, and part would be Yoga Nidra to like integrate everything.
I
So,
love how it says there's only one you, and that's the one the world needs to see.
and that's what I keep coming back to as well. Like that's a core belief that I have. It's like the world like needs all of us
Yeah.
to show up.
Right.
Like
Yeah. And I was going to say earlier when we were talking about journaling that the journaling I've been doing lately is as soon as I realize a core belief that I have, I will write it down and then dissect it. And, okay, why do I believe this? Why? And then like just keep going the next layer, the next layer, the next layer. And so that's been really helpful because there's some beliefs that I have that I don't want to have or I feel bad about. And if I can dissect it and see why I believe, then like, oh, I don't have to feel bad about having that thought because my true intentions I will find by the end of this journaling. But so that sounds like a great class. And then there's an iRest co-meditation dyad.
I know that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was from the iRest Yoga Nidra training. So, okay, weirdly, I think I studied Yoga Nidra. Well, I know I studied it in my yoga therapy education part. And that's when I recorded those. And then I took the iRest like after that, which is really nice just because it kind of simplified it in my mind. And the co-meditation dyad is like you and I meeting up and just kind of walking you through a meditation program. So like you might just start talking about what's alive in you right now. What feeling is it? And then I might just, pull on that thread a little bit. Well, what can you tell me more about that feeling? And it just allows you to like wind into the experience with someone kind of walking you along and kind of taking notes too, so that you have kind of resolution as you go, and coming to the end of the journey together and just giving you that kind of calming and grounding sense, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's kind of it's a dialogue. So
Well, I'm really excited about that, and I'm gonna have to sign up because I'm obsessed with the dyad. The Star Wars is the only place I've ever really heard that term used.
okay. And I'm
So
not in. What do you mean in the Star Wars?
in the episode 7, 8, and 9, there's dyad in the Force. There's two people that can like talk when
Oh,
they're not near each other and
oh,
do all these
interesting.
things.
Okay, I
Yeah,
did not know that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have meditations on Insight Timer, and anybody that doesn't know about Insight Timer, that is my favorite meditation app.
Okay.
So
And I
excited to
only
see
have a
that.
couple on there, so I need to put more on.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay. Cool. And your website is amyjensen.net, right?
yes.
For anybody that wants to check out these classes.
And I do have the Yoga Nidra recordings on YouTube. So
Okay.
you can look up Amy Jensen Healing Arts channel on YouTube, so you can listen to them for free on there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm excited for tonight now. In the next 5 to 10 years, what do you envision for your work? Or you're just going to keep letting things come in, I think.
I think I'm just gonna, yeah,
Yeah.
because I had this moment of terror when you asked me that. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I really
That's
don't
okay.
know. I
That's
really
good.
feel like,
Then you don't have to go through the pain of it not going how you don't want it to.
right.
So, perfect. If you could give people only one piece of advice to stay aligned with their own inner guidance system, what would you say?
Hmm. The first thought is be honest, but it is hard to be honest. But okay, I better clarify that. It is hard to be honest. Really be honest about what it is that you want to do and be, and just be honest about who you are, even if it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Be honest. And then I'm going to go back to just love, because I know during this health crisis of a family member, um, it was pretty close to not the person not being there. And the only thing that matters at that point is love. I mean, it's the only thing that matters. So maybe the loving yourself and being honest with yourself and being honest with other people, but like coming from that like love base. So if that makes
Beautiful.
sense.
Anything else new that's lighting you up right now that's, bringing you goosebumps or any kind of fulfillment?
Not, let me see. I don't know if there's anything new. I'm really excited to utilize the things I have set in motion and just do it. Maybe that's probably what I'm excited about. I think through this experience of this last fall and this health crisis, you realize you just don't have time. Like you may have time, but you don't know if you have time. And so like I'm letting go. So I am excited about this. I'm letting go of the thinking about it and I just want to do it. Like you call me up to do Reiki, let's do Reiki. You want to do the dyad, let's just do it. And instead of like, oh, can I, am I going to do a good job for Beth? There's always a little bit of that in me for people. And I'm like, oh, girl, just there's no time for that. Just do it.
Yeah.
Because I love doing it and I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. And who knows what that'll be next year. But for now, I am super excited about all the things I'm doing and just sharing it with people and
That
your
is
experiences.
so wild because during my meditation today, I was kind of maybe starting to fall asleep a little bit, but then I woke up kind of abruptly and the words "do it" was in my head. And then I watched a YouTube video that is only about 5 minutes long that it reminded me of, where he says "do it," but for this too, yeah, we stop using our brains and thinking so much and just do it.
Yep.
That's so great. Okay, so now we will get into the segment where I asked you to give me the names and numbers of people that I could reach out to. And so I reached out and asked them to describe you in 6 or 7 words. And then I put all those into themes so that you could see how people perceive you. Because I think it's just nice to see ourselves, how those around us do. Because we have a hard time seeing ourselves in good light. But yeah, your themes are so obvious and easy, and everybody just couldn't stop saying enough about you. They did not listen when I said 6 or 7 words. They gave a lot extra, and they had paragraphs of just telling me how much they love you and how great you are. And I'm like, yeah, I know how great she is. So your first word is tenderhearted, because a couple of people said kind, a couple generous, a couple said caring and compassionate, and then loving, warm, gentle, thoughtful, sensitive, comforting, sincere, and honest. Honest. And the second word is creative, because I don't think anybody can think of you and not think of creativity. Artistic, musical, talented, vibrant, ethereal, bohemian. And your third word is analytical. Smart, wise, a couple people said, intelligent, knowledgeable, resourceful, perceptive, inquisitive, scientific, disciplined, diligent, and transparent. And which I think is so great that, a lot of people might think that you're not scientific. People who are not you, but people who are woo-woo are not scientific. But you are your word is analytical, so... And then your fourth word is soulful. So a couple of people said spiritual and intuitive, seeker, understanding, mystical, precious, authentic. A couple of people said genuine, transparent, true, open, radiant, and lovely. And then your fifth word is uplifting. A couple of people said funny. A couple of people said joyful and witty, fun, optimistic, energetic, playful, amazing, encouraging, bubbly, and luminous.
Wow.
And our mutual friend Sherry said also she has total trust with you, which is so nice to have people that you can trust so much.
Well,
So
I feel the same about Sherry. So
good. So AI and I together wrote a synopsis about you. You're not one thing, you're a constellation. You don't just create art, you create portals. And you don't just help people meet themselves, you walk them back to their own light. Also, please remember that you are not these words. You are not your thoughts. You are the space between the words, the space between the thoughts. You are the one who knows you have thoughts. Observe them, reflect them, but no, you are not them.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything you want to say about that?
I don't know if I can say anything about that. That's pretty amazing.
Okay. Well, the
Thank you.
last couple of questions are, what do you do right now that you hope your grandkids do when they're your age?
Do silly things.
Mm.
Do, yeah, just, yeah, and don't care. And grandkids, don't listen to your mom and dad. And be naughty. But yeah, just a little, be a little bit of a troublemaker. Keep people on their toes.
Love that. And what do you do that you hope that they don't do? Is there
Oh.
anything that?
Oh yeah, don't be hard on yourselves. Don't. Yeah, just you are you are enough. But yeah, just don't let that critical. Don't let the critic into the room. Just have fun. Be creative.
Beautiful. Veda, did anything come up for you that you want to ask?
No, I think you kind of touched on everything that I had thought of prior to recording. So, yeah.
Anything else that we didn't touch on that you were hoping to talk about?
No, I don't think so. Thank you. This was such a lovely gift doing this and assembling. I'm so sorry. I've been trying to not use my hands too much because I'm a terrible hand talker. But that list and that writing was just a gift. And I appreciate that a lot. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, I hope that you come on again sometime. I'm sure we could just make a million of these. And yeah, I'm sure I'll see you again soon. Thank you so much for everything that you've brought into my life.
Thank you, Beth. I really appreciate you. I do.